Hello and welcome to today's video. We are here for another week of power rankings. We are here for the stage 3, week number 2 power rankings here for the Overwatch League. And there should be some more battery life on my computer this time. Because I'm in on my phone. Last time we were running with like 15% when I started, so I had to kind of rush through. But we got 25% battery life on that and 100% on this, so we are all good for the video today. So there was a lot of things that really shook up in the Overwatch League this week. Some teams that won that people didn't expect to win, like the Boston Uprising, still staying 4-0 even though Dreamcasper is now gone from their team. New York Excel losing a match to Boston. Dallas Fuel taking Seoul Dynasty to a map number 5 there. And on Saturday was all map number 5s. So there's a lot of crazy things with the Overwatch League. This week here I noticed a lot of D.Va bombs going off and actually killing people. That was really cool because playing D.Va being my favorite character, she doesn't really get crazy ultimate kills. So it was really cool to see that in the league this week. So, our power rankings, if I pull them up here. First of all, on our list here, we have the Houston Outlaws. They are 10th overall in the standings. They are 1-3 in stage number 3. They are 7-12 with a map differential of -5. And if you look at the league standings, Houston is 7th overall. They're 13-11. They're 59-47 with a map differential of 12. We look at this week, and Houston, they lost in 5 maps to Philadelphia. And the first map, they took on Volskaya Industries, where they won. Then they lost to Philadelphia on both Nimbani and Ilios. And then we go to Junkertown, where they managed to win. Junkertown, really, look at the numbers here, it was 1-0. Actually, I think I watched all the matches except for the matches on Saturday because I was doing things, getting new glasses and all that stuff. And then on Oasis, Philadelphia won there. And then I tweeted about this, saying that Houston's not a good team, and I'm not surprised. They took New York Excel to 5 games, but couldn't close it out. They did have their new tank in there, Fact Fiction, who I think was actually better than Moma, but, that's my opinion. I think Moma's just overhyped in the league, honestly. There's just a couple players of, Winston that I just feel get overhyped, and I feel like he's one of them. He just, yeah, he does good as a tank, but there's better tanks than him, but that's just the thing. I feel like he's I also feel like Jake is overhyped as well. Neither one of those players is super good. If I was building a team, they're not even considered as players that I want. Really, anybody from Houston. I think they're just a bad team. That's my opinion. I'm not trying to be Houston's a bad team. And that's not why I placed them at the bottom. I placed them at the bottom because they played bad. They went to 2 map 5s and couldn't close either one out. So first they went to Volskaya against New York Excel and won that. They lost Blizzard World, won Nepal, lost Route 66, and lost Oasis. So they're there. They show that they can compete, but closing it out is just not their thing. Alright, coming in here next is the 11th on our list, the Shanghai Dragons. They're 0-4. They're 2-14. But I honestly feel like they played really well this week. Last week they sort of struggled a little bit, even with their new players coming in, getting the communication, like I said, between the Chinese and Korean players. It's a little bit hard, but I feel like with a week of time, another week of practice, they were able to get it down. Get some of the Korean players to know the Chinese words and the words that they wanted to all use in English, because that's the thing as well. I feel like it's just, they're showing that they're a good team. Now, yes, they have only won 2 maps in the stage, but we're going to look what they did this week. They did get 4-0 by the Gladiators to start off, but they were honestly close matches. Temple of Anubis, they lost 2-1. Blizzard World, they lost 2-1. Nepal, they lost 2-1. And Route 66, they lost 3-2. So it wasn't like they were really far off. It was just 1 point that they didn't get. But the thing that really made me put them in 11th, it sounds like, oh my god. But the thing that made me think put them in 11th was the match against the San Francisco Shock. That match really impressed me. San Francisco is such an improved team from what they were a couple weeks ago that they played a close match in Temple of Anubis. Nibbana, they actually won. They had on Ilios, they kind of just got destroyed. But I thought on Junkertown that they had a real good shot to win it and force the Game 5. Of course, they didn't, but I think that they just played really, really well this week, especially against San Francisco. And I see improvements in their team, and I feel like, depending on who they play, they might be able to pick up that first win rather soon. All right, coming in next year, in 10th place is the 0-4 Florida Mayhem. They're 3-13. 3-13-1 on maps, the differential of 12. I've heard to say for Shanghai, they're 0-24 on the season. They're 10-87-1 on maps. Florida is 4-20. They're 27-71-3 on maps. And this week, Florida lost 3-0 against the London Spitfire. They tied on Volskaya Industries, and then lost Nibbana, Nepal, and Route 66. But some of their new players, they have also showed some improvements. So it's in their match against Shanghai. Next week should be a very good match. Shanghai trying to get their first win. And Florida with their improved team. We'll see two improved bottom teams facing off again like they did in, I believe, Stage 1. I don't think they played each other Stage 2. They might have. I don't know. Either way, the Florida Mayhem took on one of the top teams in the league right now. One of the two teams with undefeated records in Stage number 2. Stage number 3. They took on the Boston Uprising, losing both Temple of Anubis and Blizzard World. I actually did watch the end of this game because I got home, finished eating, doing all the stuff I had to do. So I was able to watch the end of this game. Nepal, Florida won. And Junkertown, Florida barely won it. Boston's almost able to backcap. They only have like 4 meters to push it. But then on Oasis, Boston just took over and won. But it was a very close game for Florida, to say the least. All right, next on our list here is... Oh, wait. Gotta look at the stage. Next here is the London Spitfire. They're 9th. They're 1-3 in the stage. 7-10-1. With a map differential of 3. Now, they're surprised to see them so low, considering that they are... Well, there's actually a lot of teams that are all tied for the record here in the thing here. So London, Seoul, Boston, and Philadelphia are all 16-8. But London has the best map differential, so that's obviously a thing that keeps getting brought up. The map differential that London has is better by a large margin than Seoul. London, they're 16-8, they're 67, 35-1, map differential of 32, compared to Seoul Dynasty's differential of 18, the Uprisings of 16. So they have a lot more differential over all those other teams. So this week, London was able to get their first win of the stage against Florida, as we just talked about moments ago, tying Volskaya, then winning Nibbana, Nepal, and Route 66. And then they lost to the Philadelphia Fusion, Temple of Anubis, Blizzard World. They lost to Philadelphia. They won Ilios, Junkertown, and then lost Oasis. Pretty sure I said that the same thing, but a different team like 2 minutes ago. But either way, London, I placed them where they are. They haven't shown in the stage that they are the same team that they were in stage 1 and 2. It's very surprising to see them down where they are. All right, coming in next on our list is Dallas Fuel. They're 8th in our standings, or 8th in our power rankings and 8th in the standings. They're 1 and 3. They're 7-9 and 1 a mouse, a differential of 2. In the league standings, they're 10th. They're 6 and 18, 34, 62 and 5. I honestly feel like Dallas improved a little bit. They had one of the new players. I forgot his name, but he's a tank player. He's a very, very good tank, actually. But it's very interesting to look at the standings here real quick. That you have the first 8 teams with all double-digit wins. Then you got San Francisco with 8, Dallas with 6, Florida with 4, and then Shanghai with 2. So there's really 8 teams in contention to make the playoffs right now. But for Dallas this week, they played pretty well against Seoul. And that's what I was thinking. All right, they're doing very, very well. They lost Volskaya, won Nimbani, lost Nepal, won Route 66, and then lost Oasis. But they played very well against the Seoul Dynasty. And I think that they have showed that they're improved. They did lose to the Los Angeles Valiant. That was a game they should have won. They really should have won that. They tied on Volskaya, won Nimbani, almost won Ilios. It was very, very close. And then lost on Route 66. But they definitely had a shot to win there. So I feel like they have definitely showed that they are an improved team. They kind of went back to the team that they were expected to be coming into the league. Just being very, very strong, very dominant team. I feel like they can go back to trying to be that very, very soon. All right, coming in 7th is the 7th overall team in our power rankings here. I think the power rankings basically say the same. I think I might have swapped the top couple teams around. But the San Francisco Shock are next. They're also 1 and 3. They're 7-9. Nope, they're 2 and 2. And they're 6 and 10. Map differential and -4. Actually, shout out to the San Francisco Shock for liking my tweet of the power rankings. They're the first team to acknowledge my power rankings existing. So that's pretty cool. San Francisco Shock overall is 9th. They're 8 and 16. 39, 58 and 3. Map differential of -9. San Francisco this week, forward by the Valiant. Volskaya, Blizzard World, Ilios, Route 66. They kind of lost on all of them. I think they could have won Blizzard World. It was very close. And Route 66. And honestly, Volskaya. So they didn't play that far off. Let me just tap this thing that says, your battery's got 20% left, you mean, Lord. And then Shanghai, they went 3 and 1. Temple of Anubis, they won. Lost Nimbani, won Ilios, and Junkertown. But the Shock overall, they have improved. I feel like they are a team on the rise, and if they can just try to get a couple more wins in there, I could see them potentially edging their way up, because they're 8 and 16. And the Gladiators are 13 and 11 right in front of them, so the differential, though, is 9 maps. That's kind of a lot. 19 compared to +4 for the Gladiators, so it's a lot to overcome, but they started playing really well. I think they can move up. All right, coming in at 6th here on our power rankings is the Seoul Dynasty, 2 and 2. They are 9 and 9 with maps differential, of course, of 0. They are one of the couple teams in the league. Right now, they're 16 and 8. They're 3rd overall. They're 59, 41 and 2. Map differential of 18. But if they drop a couple maps next week, they could find themselves in 4th place if Boston keeps on winning. So they got to win some maps. That comes back to the drop maps that they had against teams they shouldn't have dropped maps in earlier in the season. So to start off the week, Seoul and Dallas went all 5 maps. Seoul and Volskaya, losing Nimbani, winning Nepal, losing to Route 66, and then winning on Oasis. But then, the sadness, they had Temple of Anubis that they won. They made a couple mistakes. They didn't get on the payload of Blizzard World. I think they could have won there. I believe in Nepal they made the same mistake, not getting on the points. So a couple mistakes there. And also Flutta was, wasn't feeling well, so it took him out. And I think that really impacted the match. I think that he could have turn it their way. But either way, they lost those two. They came in, won Junkertown, and lost on Oasis. I really feel like that that hurt them, but that's what happened. So they lost to the Gladiators, and that's why they find themselves 6th here in our power rankings. Of course, our power rankings here do not take into effect any matches before Stage 3. This is purely based on the stage and moves accordingly. Alright, next up is the Philadelphia Fusion. They are 3-1. They're 11-8 on maps with a differential of 3. Philadelphia is one of those teams that is 16-8 in the league. They're 5th overall. They're 58-47-1, differential of 11. Look at their way. Started out with a win over the Houston Outlaws, losing Volskaya but winning Nimbani, Ilios, dropping Junkertown, and then winning on Oasis. They didn't play bad. They didn't play bad at all in that situation. And then they had another 3-2 win. This one coming against the London Spitfire, winning Temple of Anubis and Blizzard World, dropping Ilios, dropping Junkertown. They didn't take a point on either one, but then coming back on Oasis and getting the win there. Very, very interesting week for them. They were able to win in matches that they had to, and beating Houston without EQO showed that they don't really need EQO in their lineup. I really think that, when he's in there, they play even better, but without him, it doesn't show they really necessarily need him, if you know what I mean. Like, they can win without him, but if they have him, then they're even better. Alright, coming in 4th in our power ranks, the lowest that this team has ever been. The New York Excelsior. They're 3rd in the stage. They're 3-1, 13-5, map differential of 8. In the league, of course, they are 1st overall. They're 21-3 with a map win-to-lose ratio of 78, 24, and 2. Differential of 54. Now there is 2 teams I just noticed that never tied a map in the Overwatch League. Houston and Boston. They should play each other in tie map. Anyways, looking here, this week the New York Excel surprisingly fell to the Boston Uprising, dropping Volskaya, and then winning Nimbani and Ilios, but then dropping Junkertown and Oasis, both ones that were surprising that they dropped. I was really surprised that they lost that match. And then getting pushed to a Game 5 against Houston. This is why the team is down here, losing to Boston and then getting forced to a Game 5 by a not very good team in the league is going to make you fall down the list. Houston won. Volskaya, Excel took Blizzard World. Houston took Nepal. And then Excel came back and won Route 66 and Oasis. Alright, we're getting here. We're getting here in the top teams now. Number 3 is the 4th overall in the stage, Los Angeles Gladiators. Now, the top 4 teams make the stage now instead of the top 3. So the stage 3 players to start now would be Gladiators, New York, Boston, and the Valiant. Very, very surprising. This week here was sort of like the fall of the all-Korean teams. It felt like that with New York losing, Seoul losing, and London continuing to struggle. It really seemed like these Western teams have figured out how to compete with these all-Korean teams. It definitely feels that way. Look at the top teams in the stage, and honestly, the teams losing that lost, it definitely feels that way in this stage. But the Gladiators are 3-1. They're 11-6, differential of 5 on maps. While the Gladiators are 8th, they're 13-11, 52, 48-1, differential of 4. They really started improving in stage 2 and 3. That's really why they're down so low, is because they had just a bad stage 1. They lost a bunch of games. But they're moving back up now. And I look this week at the Gladiators, of course. As we noted, they took out New York. But the other team they took out was Shanghai, winning on all 4. Winning Anubis, Blizzard World, Nepal, and Route 66. But that was a very close match, for sure. And then against the... Oh, no, it wasn't New York Cell they took out. They took out Seoul. New York Cell was taken out by Boston. All right. So the Gladiators took out Seoul, losing Anubis, but winning Blizzard World and Nepal, dropping Junkertown, but then taking Oasis, giving them the win. And that's the thing. I was thinking, I'm like, why don't they do a different type of map for the tiebreaker? But then I realized just now that the tiebreakers have to be control maps. Because you can tie on any other map. You can tie on control, you can tie on escort, and you can tie on payload maps. If the team just pushes the whole distance. And actually, I don't think you can tie on payload maps, can you? I know you can tie on control and hybrid, but I don't know. But yeah, so they won that. So the Gladiators definitely have improved in this stage and in the end of the last stage. Alright. Number 2 in our power rankings is the Los Angeles Valiant. They're 4-0. They're 14-1-1. Differential of 13. They dropped a map? I think they dropped a map. Anyways, the Valiant are 15-9, so they're right there behind all the teams that are 16-8. London, Seoul, Boston, and Philadelphia. So they're right there behind them. And honestly, if London, Seoul, Boston, and Philadelphia lose, Valiant has a better differential than all of them but London. I'm sorry, I keep coughing. I'm sorry about that. But they are 15-9, 58-37-5, differential of 21. Now they have a lot of ties. They have the most. Them in Dallas. But anyways, the Valiant have really come out strong on the stage, only dropping one map and tying one. So, the Shock. It's the first team they beat. 2-1 on Volskaya, 4-3 on Blizzard World, 2-0 on Ilios, and 2-1 on Route 66. Later in the week, so when they dropped their first map and tied for the first time in the stage, they tied on Volskaya, lost on Nimbani, won on Ilios, and then won Route 66. So just winning Ilios, it came down to Route 66, whoever would win, and they ended up getting the win there. The Valiant have started off with a very, very good start, and they would be the number 1 team, but there's one thing that puts the Boston Uprising above them this week. The number 1 team for the first time ever in our power rankings, that the number 1 team is not an all-Korean team. The first Western team to be number 1 on our power rankings, the Boston Uprising. Because all through Stage 1 it was Seoul Dynasty and the New York Excel. But we did count Stage 1 playoffs in the first power rankings. So, London went to the top after the stage playoffs. Then to start Stage 2, Seoul carried through, again being number 1 team. They started losing. New York went to the top. New York stayed at the top until this week's power rankings, where the Boston Uprising became the first team to be number 1. That was a Western team. So, I mean, even though London and New York are Western cities, the team is an all-Korean team. Anyways, so the Boston Uprising are 4-0. They are 13-6 now, differential of 7. In the league standings, they are 4th overall. They're 16-8, 61-45. One of the 2 teams to not have a tie in this league so far on a map. Differential of 16 overall. So, what puts them at the top? Well, this first match. Winning against the New York Excel will put you at the top. They won on Volskaya, lost on Nimbani, lost on Ilios. It was looking like, oh wow, they might just lose this here. But they pulled it out and won on Junkertown, and then won on Oasis. I was so surprised by the results of that. It was that mixed with the fact that New York played pretty bad on their match. Or didn't play bad, but they almost lost to Houston. And then the combination that the Valiant did play a lower down team. They played 2 lower down teams, so it kind of just like all worked this week that you could sell lost to them and then had a bad game against Houston and almost lost, and then the Valiant taking on the Fuel and the Shock, not your 2 top of the standings teams. And then Boston Uprising. Of course, they did take on a lower team, but they had to take on the best team. So Boston took on the Florida Mayhem. They did get pushed to a Game 5 in that. Winning Anubis, winning Blizzard World, dropping Nepal, dropping Junkertown, but winning Oasis. It really hurts me to put Boston Uprising as the #1 team in the power rankings. It really does. It hurts me so bad. But I feel like right now they're playing like a very, very good team. And we'll see if they stay there, of course. Oh my god. Can't believe I actually have Boston #1. Alright. Yeah, Boston is the #1 team this week. Alright, I have nothing else to say. Besides the fact that I are very, very sad that I have Boston ranked #1. I really, if you guys know, I don't like Boston Uprising. They're my least favorite team in the Overwatch League. Being owned by Robert Kraft, who owns the Patriots. That's kind of why I don't like them. Because I'm a fan of the New York Jets. So, that's a thing. So, and if it involves Patriots, I'm not about. It's owned by the same person, not about it. But I feel like that they earned being first place in the stage this week, and we'll see what happens in the next week. I know we like to look at the top matchups for week #3, so let's see what we got here for these teams. I mean, there's always the Battle of Los Angeles. That's always a good one. The Gliders and the Valiant. 2 teams in the playoffs going at it. Personally, for me, anytime that Seoul plays one of Case's favorite teams, you guys know he likes the Overwatch League as well. His favorite team's Shanghai. So for me, Seoul and Shanghai, I'm looking forward to that. Of course, it's a pretty lopsided matchup, but it's his favorite team against my favorite team. So of course, that's always big for us. Philadelphia, New York Excel, that could be a good one. Boston and London. Seoul and Boston. Let's go Seoul. Excel and Gladiators could be a good match as well. Spitfire and Valiant. And, yeah, so that's the thing. Matches, again, to watch out for this week. Gladiators and Valiant. Uprising, Spitfire, Excel, and Fusion. Uprising and Dynasty. Then Excel and Gladiators and Spitfire and Valiant. Those are all matches. Actually, the Battle for Texas is cool. Outlaws and Fuel as well. So, Saturday's got a bunch of good games. So, yeah, let me know what games you guys are excited to watch this week. And also, let me know what you guys' favorite teams are. I was talking about Seoul being my favorite team and Shanghai being Case's favorite team. But what are you guys' favorite teams? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you guys are interested, make sure that you do vote for the MVP of the Overwatch League. What's the hashtag for that? I know I tweeted it out. Let's see if I can find it here real quick. I believe it's OWL MVP. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, it's OWL MVP, and then just tag who your favorite player is. I'm not really sure how you do that if they don't have a Twitter. Actually, I guess you just write their name. So I voted for Sabiolbi from New York Excel, but yeah, make sure you guys go out and vote for your favorite, or who you think should be the MVP. Don't vote for your favorite. Let's not be meme lords. Let's make it a popularity contest. That's the one thing about fans voting is that unless they make it like a fans vote counts towards it, but not entirely to it, because if they do, it's just going to be like a meme fest. Because everybody's commenting XQC is the MVP. But, yeah, so if you guys want to vote for the MVP, let me know also down below who you would vote for MVP. Like I said, I vote for Sabiolbi, that's who I did vote for, but let me know who you voted for MVP of the Overwatch League Season #1. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next week for the power rankings for week #3 of Stage 3 of the Overwatch League. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys then.